Forget the Summer Games, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about the massive balance changes that have just gone live. But also, this is the best thing ever.
Hey.
Hello.
You can wave at the bots in the training range. And they wave back.
Hi there.
Hello.
How wonderful. You can also wave at the friendly bots and they also wave back. Beautiful. Absolutely magnificent. Look at this.
Hello.
Hello.
Amazing. All right, let's get stuck into the video. So the huge balance change that was on the PTR has gone live. So we need to cover this because loads of heroes have been changed. Lucio, I think, is amazing. And I'll show you Lucio in a jiffy, but to begin with, let's go over all of the other changes that we've got. So first up, we've got Zarya. So the smaller radius on Graviton's Surge makes it more reasonable for her enemies to try countering it by spreading out or by staying spread out, as well as putting more focus on Zarya to position the ultimate correctly to impact the most players possible. However, the intent of these changes isn't to lessen Zarya's overall power significantly, so we're reducing her energy drain rate, which should keep her energy higher on average, resulting in more damage and quicker ultimate charge times. Overall, this takes some power out of her ultimate and distributes it elsewhere to add more counterplay against her. So energy drain rate reduced from 2 to 1.6 seconds, and the radius has been reduced on the grav. Okay, Widowmaker. Developers comments, the increased cooldown of Widowmaker's grappling hook will slightly reduce the frequency that she can reposition herself. This allows her to be threatened more easily by agile enemy heroes such as Winston and Genji. So grappling hook cooldown goes from 8 to 10 seconds. Much needed nerf to Widowmaker. She is the sniper. She should not be mobile, so it is great that Blizzard are addressing this. So I'm super cool with this, and this is a great change. And I play a lot of Widows, so yeah, I'm cool with this. SYMMETRA. Symmetra's primary fire has huge damage potential, but it's too difficult to charge because of its low range and slow charge rate. We're increasing the range to see how it plays out, giving her more opportunities to use it, especially against enemy barriers. So the photon projector, the primary range is increased from 10 to 12 meters, an extra 2 meters on the range. Now, primary fire is still pretty bad for Symmetra, in my opinion. I don't think this fixes it. I think they need to do more. It basically needs to charge faster because it's pointless using it. You may as well use alternate fire. Sombra. So the head changes are mostly a bug fix, as her head hit volume was abnormally large, especially from behind. Previously, if you fired at her from behind, near her upper spine, you could land a headshot. Now her head volume is much more accurate, so they've just reduced the size of her head hitbox, which is fine, right? Bug fixes, that's cool. I mean, I was never really aware of this. Sombra's pretty hard to hit anyway. She's got a pretty slim silhouette, but yeah, apparently her head was bugged, so it's fixed, so that's all good. Now REINHARDT gets fixed, but not really in the way that I think everybody wants him to get fixed. So developers comments on this: by smoothing out REINHARDT's barrier field, he now will be able to consistently block enemy abilities and projectiles that could sometimes unintentionally sneak through. So Junkrat's grenade. So what they've done is push the decorative insignia behind the shield, so it no longer sticks out in front of the shield, because it would take splash damage and that would affect REINHARDT. This is something that should have been fixed like years ago, really, but REINHARDT's got a lot of other issues that need looking at anyway, so hopefully in time he gets sorted. So Moira. This change should help Moira in situations where there are no enemies within reach, but your team still requires a lot of healing. She will still need to drain enemies to be fully effective, but this just helps her a bit in the rare cases where there is an extended long-range fight that she can't reasonably take part in. So this is Biotic Grasp. Passive energy regeneration rate increased from 2 per second to 2.4. So she just generates more healing without doing any sucking. So this makes her output more healing. So it's a buff. This is good. Mercy gets nerfed though, so Mercy's previous healing output made her nearly irreplaceable in any team composition. Even after this change, she will still be able to deliver more healing over the course of a match than any other support hero, but it should allow for other healers to be more viable. So the staff healing beam has been reduced from 60 healing per second to 50. We covered this in videos in detail. I think this was needed. This is basically makes the other healers more competitive with her. Lucio, this is the absolutely huge one, and the end of the video will focus on this in a lot of detail. So developers' comments here are: increasing the amount of shield health gained from Lucio's sound barrier should make it more effective against incoming burst damage as part of his last rework. Crossfade's radius was heavily reduced, but its potency was increased to compensate. While the change was better for him overall, the radius was small enough that it was often difficult to keep his allies in range during a fight, even if they felt reasonably close together. So what they've done is increase crossfade range from 10 to 12 meters, but remember it's a radius. Sound barrier now gives you 750, which is ridiculous. HANZO, developers' comments here: HANZO's lunge ability allows him to be a bit too evasive, so we're increasing the cooldown to make him easier to catch. So he actually gets an extra second on lunge, so he can't do his double jump lunge away, which I think is probably a much needed nerf because HANZO is a bit ridiculous. Like HANZO has gone through a phase of multiple nerfs hitting him just to bring down his power rate, but he still is kind of ridiculous. Like he can burn down tanks like faster than Reaper, which is slightly insane. Doomfist, this is just more of a quality of life change, sort of bug fix change. And the devs even say that. So these changes are just the quality of life improvements for how Doomfist interacts with Symmetra's placed objects. So he no longer impacts Symmetra's teleporter when he tries to rocket punch it, and now destroys Symmetra's sentry turrets without stopping his movement. Just again, quality of life. Nothing too huge there with Doomfist. It was frustrating if you did punch a Symmetra turret as it was flying towards you, but I kind of thought that was a bit of Symmetra counterplay to Doomfist. So Brigitte, so she gets nerfed again, but I don't think this is going to be enough to stop people going, oh my god, Brigitte, get her out of the game. So developers comments, Brigitte's shield bash is one of her strongest abilities, and its short cooldown can make it difficult to play against. Slightly increasing its cooldown will give her opponents more opportunity to play around it. We've also added an option to control Brigitte's repair pack targeting sensitivity, which will allow players to reduce the width of the search angle for the ability. This is useful for trying to target specific allies in the middle of a fight. So shield bash cooldown increased from 6 to 7 seconds, so an extra second, and repair pack now has the targeting sensitivity option. Ana, she gets some pretty nice changes. So again, buffs here. These changes how Ana's nano boost be more usable in more situations. Previously, it was entirely used to combo with other allies' ultimates just before they use them. With this change, nano boost can now alternatively be used to save an ally from near death in the middle of a big fight. So what it does is it gives you 300 health instantly when it hits you, and the range has been increased from 30 to 40 meters. So this is actually a nice buff to Ana's ultimate, and it lets you use it in different situations, which is cool. However, let's talk about Lucio. What you're going to see here is, it's going to sound kind of funny to say this, but this is actually a pretty high level quick play game. Like there's players on my team who are in the upper 4.4k kind of rating, and you'll notice it's a big group on my team as well. So this is a pretty decent game actually. Now, remember the changes we've got here for Lucio. So sound barrier now isn't 500 points, it is 750. That's an extra 250 points on the protection the barrier gives you. That is absolutely phenomenally insane. Like, that is crazy. Also, Lucio's radius, so his healing radius, has been increased by 2 meters. However, that means it's almost, I think it's almost like a 40% increase in effective area that he now heals. Because it's not just an extra 2 meters on the length, because it's a radius. It's obviously a massive circle around it. This makes him way more effective. This means you can do the crazy Lucio stuff. You can wall ride, you can jump about the fight, you can do all that stuff, but you also still give healing to your team. That is beautiful, because Lucio suffered from range problems. He also suffered from, you probably would take other healers, like, you know, you probably would take a Mercy and a Zen. I still think Zen is super powerful, and I still think Mercy is still going to get played, but this allows us to think of new ways of playing the game. It allows us to play supports that generally we wasn't playing because there was no reason to do it, because they were just simply better supports. Overwatch is in its worst state when there's just an established meta and everybody just plays the same thing. You know, we're just going to sort of, do the double sniper meta and that's it. You know, we're going to take a HANZO, a Widow, we're going to take a Zen, we're going to take, I don't know, a REINHART or a Winston, we're going to take a D.Va, we're going to take a Mercy. You know, that is kind of boring, right? That is not where the game is at its best. The game's at its best if you can be highly dynamic with your team comms, and that's exactly what they're trying to do here. This entire support rework has thrusted Lucio right back into the game. Like, if I see Lucio on my team now, I'm cool with that. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take Lucio because this means we can move faster. I honestly think the game actually plays better with speed boost as well. Speed boost it makes the game feel much more dynamic. It makes the game feel more fluid, not just for the Lucio player, for everybody else involved. And Lucio is a very high skill hero to play as well. So I think it's really cool that Lucio's getting thrust back into it. But also Ana's nano boost change is really good for Ana. And remember, she's had recent changes as well with increased ammo and all that stuff. So she's in a good place, right? Still, she's very high skill, but she's got the option to save people when they're literally about to die, which could change the flow of a fight. And the enemy team wouldn't be able to predict that. It would be, oh my god, this Reinhardt's going crazy, he's in the back line, then suddenly he gets nanoed, and suddenly he's back to full health again, and then he's just doing more damage. That's going to catch people off guard. And to me, those are the best abilities in this game. It's much like speed boost, right? This gets you into fights. This catches the enemy off guard. You can work with your team. You're like, guys, okay, we're going to speed boost now, and in you go. You don't necessarily have to use the amp it up for speed boost. You can just turn speed on, roll in, only really amp it up when you need to, if you need to get out, if you need to By the way, that was a good shot by the Widow. So this honestly, really, guys, is a huge, huge change to Overwatch. I don't care about summer games. Like, I've seen a lot of feedback relating to summer games, and people are a bit depressed because, well, maybe depressed is a bit strong, but they're a bit like, oh, is this it? Now, maybe that's because Blizzard are, you know, they've been spoiling us with these events for years, but this is the third year of summer games, and it's exactly the same. But the good news is they've launched this massive balance patch at the same time. So the game is completely new. It's completely different. Supports are totally reworked. The meta is going to go in an absolutely ridiculous place. We've got Hammond. If any of you guys have been watching Overwatch Contenders, which I implore you to do this, but Hammond is available there. So they've been playing with Hammond. They don't have any of the support changes just yet, but they've been playing with Hammond, and some of the stuff you can do with him is completely ridiculous. It's not maybe the most effective, but it's fun watching it get used, watching people trying to work out how to use the hero. I think what's going to happen now on ladder and in quick play or wherever we're going to play the game is the supports are reinvigorated. This makes the game better. This makes the game more interesting. This is huge. This is a fantastic change. I literally cannot stress how good this change is. I mean, there are some iffy things like the change to Zarya's Grav. Okay, adds a bit of counterplay. It is a bit of a nerf overall though. But yeah, let me know what you think about this, guys, in the comments below. Overwatch is getting better. This is a huge update. Go crazy below. Just let me know. Also, follow me on Twitter, guys, which is @UnitLostGaming. Send me any comments or whatever you want to do on Twitter, because I do like seeing them on Twitter. More often than not, I will see comments on Twitter kind of easier, I guess, than on YouTube. Sometimes it can get buried. But anyway, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one, guys. Toodaloo.